all the way from Huggy Kindness Studio in the ridge of High Ridge, Missouri. This is Huggy Kindness, a LovingKindness Faerie on Tea Time, a Cup of Loving-Kindness podcast series. I'm excited to share the following theme song titled I Know, created by singer-songwriter Shannon Curtis, who so graciously is allowing this song to be a part of this podcast. A song that has changed my life for the better and has inspired how I show up for myself and for others. And as you tune in to the full version of this song that precedes the talk show portion of this podcast, let us acknowledge all that we've experienced, that we're grateful for, bringing light to those struggles and triumphs that we've traveled through or currently are in, and opening our hearts in recognition of the past that others have traveled and are traveling as well. Wishing you all the best. Enjoy.
Come sit right here, tell me everything. Start from the beginning. Let it all pour out. I will catch your story in my wings. This is the beginning of all that we cry out for. You seeing me, seeing you. We are found. I know you live all alone in a cold and dark room. I know you don't see the way out. You're stuck there for good. I know how it feels. I've lived it too. Shadows only catch us from behind. Let's turn and face them. Switch on the light. Never mind the cracks you try and hide. I wanna see them. They would make you shine. The glow from within scatters light through the night. I know you go through the motions and still you can't move. I know you can see a window but you can't break through. I know how it feels. I've been there too. Yeah, me too. And it means that you're not alone. And the secrets have all been told. And I see you're beautiful.
Dear divine love, I call you in to shine your magic wisdom, healing and empowerment through me, through this podcast, through the words I share, through the visualizations, the energetic vibrations that exude from my voice, from my heart, from my experiences, from my observations. Welcome to Tea Time, a Cup of Loving-Kindness. I'm Maddie, and I'm here today, and I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be here with you now to explore why we as humans suffer. Ever wonder why we add unnecessary sufferings to ourselves, to others? I want to explore that with each of you. I want to dive into what these unnecessary added sufferings are, where they come from, and why, on top of the just natural suffering that's a part of the human experience, we add these too on top of those experiences. So let's just dive in right now. As each of us experience suffering, we have this opportunity to walk through the fire of suffering unconsciously or consciously. And the beauty of walking through it consciously is that we can understand the suffering that we're going through. We can accept it. It doesn't have an attachment over us. It just is. And we can have that same compassion with others in their suffering. However, when we suffer unconsciously, we walk through that fire of suffering unconsciously, we run this risk of inflicting harm on ourselves and others because we're attached to it. We are not exploring how it's impacting us. We are allowing this suffering to eat away at our authenticity, at our love, our hearts. And what happens is when we're unconscious to it, we don't have a pause, a moment to decide or to step back into the heart, into compassion. And when we don't take that pause, we run this risk of following reciprocating violence. And we follow that cycle, and we inflict harm onto others and onto ourselves. And it's when we are conscious in walking through that fire that we can take a moment to have some humility for ourselves and others. Humility, recognizing that we all make mistakes, and grace, that we are all doing the best with what we have in this moment. And when we do that from a place of non-judgment, when we do that from a place of seeking understanding, we may never understand why we suffer. We may never understand another person's experience and why they're suffering. But just coming from that place of wanting, that curiosity to understand our experience, another person's experience, is enough to shift us into loving kindness, into a place of deep compassion, deep listening, not trying to change it, not trying to fix it, not trying to push it away. Instead, just sitting with it, walking through that fire consciously, walking someone else through that fire consciously. It's really beautiful when you have that opportunity to do so. It's something that is like no other. It's the strength of our common thread of humanity. It's the power, the freedom, the joy, the not feeling alone, the feeling of belonging, the feeling of community. That all happens when we are conscious in our own sufferings, so that we can authentically be conscious of another person's sufferings. No longer do we need to be alone in our sufferings. No longer do we need to be unconscious. Because when we walk together in our common thread of humanity, there is this strength, this connection, this love, empowerment, freedom, togetherness that sets us all free, where we don't have to inflict harm on ourselves and others because we don't know what to do with that pain. However, instead, together, when we walk each other through the fire, of suffering, we can see each other in the light. We can see each other in our authenticity. We can see each other in the struggles. And because of that, because of not being unconscious to it, we can be present. We can offer a hand to help someone up. We can walk each other through the fire, out of the fire, and we can walk each other safely home. I thank all of you for being here. There's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot of work to be done. However, the hope lies within us, within our willingness to show up for ourselves, within our willingness to show up for one another. So, this is Tea Time, a cup of loving kindness. This is season 1, episode 1. This is a platform to practice, to explore these human engagements, these unconscious, these conscious ways that we experience the suffering that's just a part of human nature. And it's a place where we can practice loving kindness in a way to be with each other differently than maybe we ever have before, where we can be wholehearted in our engagements. And we can start to move away from unconscious suffering. We can move away from violent engagements. And instead, we can walk each other home in love. We can understand each other in love. And we can celebrate each other in the joys and the triumphs that we've overcome, that we are here together. So I welcome you today to explore your unconscious and your conscious sufferings. When you're unconscious and suffering, take a moment and just be with the suffering. Don't try to change it. No need to fix it. Just be conscious to it. And then I also welcome you to explore your own practice of loving kindness. Just like all the different wonderful teacups that are out there, they're unique in every single one, and every design, and every beautiful aspect of each one. Just like each of you are unique. And so loving kindness, practicing that is just as unique as you are. Each of you will do it differently. There's no one way, one size, one fix all of how we practice loving kindness. However, through these podcasts, I will explore with you little mile markers that I've identified, observed through my own experiences of human engagement, of understanding my own unconscious suffering, how that inflicted harm on others, myself, and my observations of conscious suffering, and how that empowered me and those around me, how it offered experiences of hope for myself and others, how it offered experiences of belonging and community for myself and others. And these mile markers that I'll share, that I've learned, are just opportunities to guide you back to loving kindness, to seeking understanding, that curiosity to understand your suffering and the suffering of someone else, coming from a place of non-judgment, and extending that humility and that grace for ourselves and others. I welcome you to share these stories as you explore the unconscious, the conscious sufferings, your own practices of loving kindness. Please share them in the comments. Please share them in emails to me. Let's start these conversations so that we can really start to cultivate a new way, a new paradigm of how we engage with one another. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, to have this opportunity to offer a platform, a community garden where we can, for once, maybe the first time in our lives, or maybe a reuniting from a time where we did it before, but we lost it. And so this community garden, we come together. We can be seen in the light as who we are. in our authenticity, we can catch each other when we fall, we can help each other up, and we can ultimately walk each other safely home. Until next time, wishing you all the best in all your endeavors this week. With love and light, Huggy.